Now there are many limitations to the valence bond theory. As you all know, like if some you can say some expert try to give certain kind of theories or something, there are many people who are sitting around just to criticize him. So likewise there are certain criticized points of the valence bond theory which were actually the limitations of this theory, and just look at the board that what were those points. So first is that it could not explain the magnetic character of the compounds. As you already know that when I just took an example and I tried to explain you, so I just told you directly that due to the experimental studies it is a diamagnetic, it is a paramagnetic, so here you need to pair up, here you don't need to pair up. So that means there is no relevant reason behind the magnetic properties, right. So this is one of the most important you can say the limitation of the the valence bond theory. Second is that it could not explain the color of the coordinate compounds. As you all know that it is the characteristic property for the coordination compounds that they form, they show a certain kind of excitations due to energy gap. We did in the properties also. So it it doesn't focus on that because it is a main characteristic property, we cannot neglect it. So this theory should actually you can say that should explain something about the color of the compounds, but it doesn't. So it is again a limitation to this theory. Third is that it doesn't told us about the reaction rate and mechanism, that how fast or slow the reaction is going to take place. As we all know that the formation of coordination bond is actually a slow process. We all know in today's time. But this theory actually doesn't try to explain about the reaction rate or the mechanism. So again, this is a limitation to this theory. And you have seen that in certain cases when I took the examples, somewhere the rearrangement of electron was required, I was doing that, and somewhere I was just trying to tell you that just leave it as it is because it is diamagnetic or paramagnetic. So again there is no a definite kind of rule which can be followed in the all cases. So it is again a limitation. Now as I told you that it can make use of inner orbital complex or outer orbital complex, as the valence the Pauling actually tried to explain that by the use of the inner D or the outer D, the complex is going to classify into two categories, the inner or the outer, but still there is somehow something is lacking in the participation of the orbital. So again it is a limitation to it. And you know that we know that in the covalent bond, whenever the covalent bond is formed, it is formed by the mutual sharing of electrons. So when you are forming a covalent bond, you are just seeing that yes, it is contributing one electron, it is contributing one electron, they are pairing up and they are forming a covalent bond. But this kind of thing you don't found in the after the formation actually. Likewise in the coordination compound, when the bond is formed, there is again the shared pair, but you cannot make it out that it is a covalent bond or a coordination bond after the formation. So there should be a certain kind of distinction that just by looking at the formula we should know that in this the coordinate bond is present or in this the covalent bond is present. That means there should be certain distinction, but there is no distinction. The Pauling actually told us that how we can distinguish between the covalent or the coordination compound. So these are the few major limitations actually which just led to the failure of this valence bond theory and gave rise to the crystal field theory. But still hats off to Pauling because he tried actually to explain many things. He made us familiar according to the inner orbital or the outer orbital complex or the shapes or the secondary valencies and the primary valencies by the Werner. But still because they possess certain kind of limitations, so we need to look for a different kind of theory, that is the modern theory, that is the most acceptable theory, that is the crystal field theory. So now we are going to start with that theory.